Okay, and we are on. It is I, Carlton Flowers, your crypto pro. We've got a lot to talk about here, and this will be a no frills update, just purely looking at the chart to show you what I see, because I think we're at another critical point here with the BTC chart, and we're going to be talking about XRP also. So let's just jump right into it. This is the 4-hour chart. And so on my last few TradingView ideas, I was talking about these declining tops, 1, 2, and 3. Let's just zoom in and look at this. At first, it was kind of confusing because I thought 0.3 had taken out the high of 0.1, but it did not when you consider the candle at 0.1. So 1, 2, 3 declining in a row, and we had broken out above the top of the parallel trading channel that I've had for the last year and a half. It broke out of the top each time, and then now it has made a definite move outside of the channel for the first time since the inception of the channel. I did draw an intermediate line, as you can see right above this, to see if it would take out the slope of the line made by the previous peaks that went outside of the channel, and we definitely have. That is significant. So this is definitely a move that makes you pay attention and say, what is going on with Bitcoin behind the scenes? I do have a theory. I think that this is coinciding with the halving event, and I think we might be getting set up for a possible post-halving dump. And I'll show you why. And I could be completely wrong. This is not financial advice. Don't listen to me. You make your own decisions. This is just my opinion. So I'll turn the camera off and let's draw on this chart and see what we can see. So as we have broken out of this miniature flag, we had this 3 green candle pump on the 4-hour. And notice how we have snapped to the ring. It is the light blue 4.618 ring. We did just jump off of the 4.236, which was very interesting to me. And of course, this fib circle set was recently constructed that takes us from the previous low to the next high point before we had the side banding, and it's produced us some pretty good results, because we can see that after the small double red candle dump here, we jumped off of the line and started side banding, and then we found it again and we pumped here, and then we ran on through. This one I didn't understand at all what happened here. I still don't know why, but we pumped and we snapped up to the 4.236, at which point it bounced up, and now we've had this little action here with this little pennant. And then we broke up again after we found, well, this is the 3.618, the 4.236, and now the 4.618. What I always look at is what the return on investment is from the stochastic standpoint. What that means is, are we returning higher positions when each stochastic peak comes, or lower? Also, are we forming higher base levels at each stochastic low point, or lower? So looking at this chart, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's just draw some arrows here and outline the coincidental movements. Not coincidental, they coincide, not coincidental. So let's say, for example, here's a stochastic low point. We're definitely in the oversold position, and it coincides with this low point. The next time we touched on it, but we did not really break the stochastic oversold boundary line, that 20%. And notice that we returned a higher price. This time we clearly broke through down into the oversold zone. Well, let's see. We have a higher base yet. Here's the next time. Now, this one did not give us much higher of a base, but it's slightly higher. So each time that we're poking through here, we notice that we're returning a higher price. Now, this one was a little bit lower, but it's not that much lower. So then the next time, we did not even make it down here into the oversold territory. So this counts here as a higher base. Then we have our next somewhat low point that coincides with point number 2. And then we only touched on the 20% boundary here. And there is our new base. So there's an overall uptrend with the stochastic low points that supports this whole trading channel moving in an upward direction. Now let's look at the peaks and see how they look. So here we are, clearly here, oversold. There's the level of return, oversold, higher level, oversold, a little bit lower, oversold here, definitely higher, here, definitely higher. So you see the trend here, and then we had a double hump. We always look out for those double humps, and this was kind of flat. I didn't think that we were going to have much action after that, and we did. Next point. We had the big green candle that happened after that. Nice little pump. And then slightly poking oversold, or overbought rather. And then here's our last overbought here that started this major pump. And now we have 2 little pumps here that started out this movement. So what I'm going to be looking for right now, as we have clearly crossed over on the stochastic, we have the fast blue line crossing over the red line, which has already happened twice, but we had 1, 2, 3 little humps of staying on top of the 80% boundary. And the more times that we bounce above here, that flying fish is going to have to drop back down underwater at some point. That's what I'm looking for. Now, what I also notice is that we are clinging to the 4.236 fib circle boundary line. That could be significant. It looks like it's going to take quite a bit of momentum to break off of this line. So what's going to happen next after that, I don't know. But we do have a rather large boundary coming up, which is the 4.236 in the regular blue color, but it's quite a ways up ahead. Now, either way we look at it, we're going to either be in for a major move upward. This is my opinion. Again, don't listen to me. This is what's going to happen. It's going to be this, or it's going to be this. This is going to come to a head. I don't see us side banding in this area. I might have to construct a new fib circle set and possibly use this point, this peak at 3 as the end to get some clues out here in the land of nothingness where I don't have any rings. But what scares me is the fact that we are running neck and neck with the stock market. And they are predicting that we're going to have another dump, that our V-bottom recovery is going to turn into a W. If the stock market dumps, I think that will definitely dictate the movement of BTC. So that's why it is very, very advisable to be careful right now. I wouldn't be shorting this or buying right now because there's just I don't know. I can't tell. I'm 50-50 here. I really don't know which way it is going to go, but that is definitely the dividing line, and I think we're going to see some aggressive movement towards the blue 4.236. And reason being, we've had a lot of hot points in the past where we see pivot points happening on these fib circle boundaries. So we know that if it was dictating movement before, they were properly placed in the time frames, and that we could see pivot points on them in the future. Okay, so let's turn off drawing mode. Let me clear the screen first, and let's jump over to XRP, which is a little bit more clear to see. I got spooked a ways back in XRP and dumped my position at 20 cents. And then, of course, this happened. We were somewhere around right here. This is where I got spooked, and I thought we were going to absolutely dump. And then we had this pump come out of nowhere. Now, notice the little flag forming. Is that a bull flag, or is it a bear flag, or is it a 50-50 flag? Usually when you have a flat bottom, it's a bear flag. This is slightly of a flat bottom. So let's just take a closer look and see what's going on here. What I see is declining peaks, even more so than Bitcoin. 1, 2, 3, and now I can go ahead and add number 4 because we have already pivoted off of this point. Let's go ahead and put a 4 and just count them as we go. So what could happen? This could continue until we get close to the end of this flag formation, and then it could bail out of this flag one way or the other. Stochastic is not telling us much as volume is going down, and then the stochastic is still in the 20 to 8% boundary. We're right there smack dab in the middle. So again, XRP's movement is going to be dictated by Bitcoin, which is dictated by the stock market. And the other caution that I have for XRP comes as a result of the caution that I have, the caution flag, which is out for Bitcoin, which is there is a high possibility that there is some serious tether printing going on without the one-to-one backing of the dollar. I had mentioned in a previous idea that isn't it interesting how tether came out and it was supposed to be one-to-one backing with the US dollar. And then we found out when the big scandal was released that they were leveraging Bitcoin by not backing up tether with dollars. But when people would sell and put their money into tether, they would go ahead and leverage and buy Bitcoin without having a $1 backup for every tether coin that was printed. So in other words, if someone sold their Bitcoin and had their money in tether, usually people would cash out, say take your money out of Coinbase. So if you sold $1,000 worth of Bitcoin and it sold into tether, then you would convert that tether to USD and you would cash out. And so what Binance had done was they would bet on the fact that the person is going to hold the tether and go back into that Bitcoin or go back into another coin. Therefore, they would not back the printing of tether on a one-to-one basis with the US dollar because most people were not cashing out. So they took advantage of what banks do with fractional reserve lending, and they gambled on the fact that most people are not going to cash out but go back into coin. So they kind of kept the liquidity going with the buying and selling of cryptocurrencies by flooding the system with tons of tether, which did a good thing because it made it possible to jump in and out of cryptocurrencies with relative ease because it increases liquidity. But if they got caught and everyone wanted their money out, they did not have a one-to-one backing to the US dollar. Now, I think they've gone a step beyond. I think the last I heard it was about a 10-to-1, and I posted an article on TradingView on my last idea. You can read about it. But right now, we could be experiencing a Bitcoin pump because of irresponsible tether printing. So that's enough about that. Let's look at this chart. So we have these declining peaks and we have this formation that is happening, and one of two things. It could be a 50-50. Once we get near the end of this apex, we could either shoot out here and make a major move up towards one of these boundaries, or we could have a major dump. So let's just zoom out here and look and see if we can find some spots. Let's maybe jump from the 4-hour to the 1-day chart. Forgive all my lines here, but it is easier to see on the 1 day. So on the 1-day chart, we've got this light fuchsia color coming up on the 2.618, but then up above that, where the apex of this triangle formation is, we're coming up on the 3.618. And then it is also possible that we could have a pivot here at the 4.236 of this light blue line. And so the light blue line, let's get a range for you. That is formed on the time frame from somewhere around March the 12th up to April the 6th or 7th. And then our fuchsia set is more recent, where it goes from the bottom of this swing channel from April the 16th all the way to April the 29th. That gives us a little bit more of a clue on what's in the immediate. I'm going to probably have to make a new set because we are out of the boundaries of the bigger sets that are stretching out with the wider dates. So that's what we could have in the immediate. Now, stochastic is not telling us much. I mean, we do have a crossover here. The fast line is overtaking the slow line. Momentum could possibly be poking up from here, but we really don't know where it's going to go. I think the market could send this in either direction. We could pump up or we could have a slide. So let's look at the stochastic low points and high points previously. Here's our low point that coincided here, and it's funny how the stochastic was on the rise right here. Notice that the price was not nearly as bad as what we would have thought it would be, or rather the position of the stochastic after that great big red candle dump. But since that candle formed in one big solid chunk, and then we immediately had a little bit of side banding action after that, I think that's what kept it from dipping further down than what it did. All right, so the next two stochastic peaks, we had an increase in price on all three of these, and so that's a clear uptrend. I mean, it's really odd. I didn't think that we were close to being in a bear market or at a point where everything is about to reverse. But you never know. I mean, we could be. I could be completely wrong. Let's turn off the drawing and zoom out even more. As a matter of fact, let's just go to the other XRP chart that does not have all of the drawing on it. Let's go to the US dollar Bitstamp chart. So coming off of this major ridiculous run of 2017, when we look at the action today, there's a lot of volume here. But I guess it could be that enough time has passed that we could be finished with this long accumulation phase, which occurred all the way through here with this low price and just relatively small movements, compared to the big spike. This is really nothing. It's nothing to write home about. So enough time has passed that it could be to a point where we could have the next move up, but I'm not convinced as of yet. So that is what I see. That's about all I've got. Check out my TradingView post for more information. Whoops. Let's clear that. Turn drawing mode off. Stay tuned for the next video, and we'll talk about this trading channel a little bit more that we can see happening right here. I mean, this just might be it. If this is the new movement that swings us from bull to bear to bull, hey, we might start trading this all the way up from this point on, but time will tell. All right, so that's about all I've got. This is Carlton Flowers, Crypto Pro. We'll see you next time.